Alright, I'm trying to get this recording up real fast since I just put the other video up before I start any other random projects I'm doing, but let's take a moment to dive back into my childhood yet again to some of the roots of my origin. We're talking about the Crash Insane Trilogy today. Man, what a take back. I've seen so many videos go up of people playing this, and I eventually was just like, yeah, I want to go back. I want to play it too, because a lot of these people are like, yeah, these games look fun. My parents played these games. And that's when it shot me in the heart to realize that I was, in fact, very old. Who'da thunk? But with that, yeah, I don't know. It feels good to have a return to standard, I guess. It's where I started. I personally had like an N64 as a kid. That was my first gaming station because it was a hand-me-down from my parents, because my parents bought a PlayStation 1 3 years after they came out. When I had the PlayStation 1, it was still just the analog controller, no sticks, simply just the D-pad. The second controller we got was a DualShock style controller that had the sticks, but it had a little button in the center for analog to turn those sticks on, and guess what? 90% of the games made on the PS1 did not have analog stick function. So, it didn't matter. It was all D-pad for us back then. And for games like Crash, being on the D-pad is actually just okay. Like, it's a 2D, 3D platformer. You don't need the stick. What did I make the mistake of doing this time? I played it with the stick. And as you can see from the start of the video, that did not bode well for me at all. It was meant to be D-pad controls, and while I could have just used my keyboard, why? Why do any of that? I wanted to feel like I did as a kid again. I wanted to have a controller in my hands. I had a bowl of fruit snacks next to me. I had a bowl of peaches and pears next to that. And I just sat down, snacked, and gamed. And that's just how the whole thing went. The whole thing went with me just sitting there like a little gremlin in my desk, doing exactly what I would have done as a kid. The only part that sucks is I have forgotten how many of those levels in just the first Crash required absolute perfection, otherwise no gem. And I think it was around the High Road or the Road to Nowhere, one of those two maps, where I just realized that I was just going to have to just go through Crash 1 and not give a shit, because I couldn't do it anymore. I could not platform the way that young me used to. I mean, Slippery Climb was always kind of my downfall. As you can see, I think I died about 20, 30 times on that level. That's... yikes. But I kind of just pushed on through to Crash 2. Crash 2 has been one of my favorite games for a super duper long time, because I've played that game in good times and in bad. I've replayed it 3 times now. Oh, yeah, no. I've played that game when it mattered most to me. When I last played it before the Insane Trilogy, one of my best buddies and I sat down one day over a bottle of rum, and we sat there and 102 or 105, I forget which percentage it was, Crash Bandicoot 2, by finding all the secret entrances, all the extra warp rooms, doing all the time trials. We did everything in the game just to get the alternate ending for Dr. Cortex's spaceship. And I was going through a real bad time when that was, so I drank more than I should have, but I still performed just like childhood me would have been proud. Looking back at it now that I've played it again, not so good. Childhood me would have been disappointed. I missed, like, I think 2 colored gems. I thought I'd remember where they were. I remembered where the one was in High Tide, where you had to do the obscure box jump to the platform to get the yellow gem. I remembered that one. Couldn't remember where the green or the red one were, though. I think I lost those ones. Regardless, AAA title. They did it good. And then Crash 3, that one I didn't play as much as a kid, but it was still there for me. I still remember a lot of the things that you had to do to get the extra gems. I still remember going to the different warp zones, cheesing Tiny the Tiger, which I love that the developers didn't patch it. They just actually throw cheese at you now. A shame tactic for us older people who have done it. Cumulatively, as all three came out, though, I love that they did not change the soundtrack. They improved it. Some of the noises that were more voxely, pixely sounding back in the day because of PS1's very limited data noise storage, it feels so much better to hear them as the developers had it in their minds. And it feels good to see the series come back around again, because I feel like a lot of people don't realize platformers are kind of where we got our whole start with, action adventure platformers. Like, Crash Bandicoot was a predecessor to Lara Croft's Tomb Raider. They came out in similar eras, but without Crash, it might not have been the same. Another one that I have on my to play list that came out around the same era as Crash is Spyro. Crash was a 2D, 3D from 1999, and I'm gonna have to look this up. I'll be damned. Spyro came out 1 year before the original Crash Bandicoot and was a fully 3D. I guess then that Insomniac Games was just ahead of Naughty Dog at that point in history. Oh, how the turntables. And yes, I did say Naughty Dog Entertainment. For those who don't know, Crash Bandicoot is the same people who have gone forth to make stuff like Uncharted. Naughty Dog has humble beginnings, but goddamn were they good. Now I'm just waiting for them to bring the Jack and Dexter series and put that on PC instead of just like the, PS3, PS4 release we got like a few years back. I'll be a happy camper then. But forgetting that, 10 out of 10, if you've never played a platformer before, you never played Mario, Mega Man, the Bandicoot games themselves, do it. Do it with a controller. Do it with a stick. Don't use a keyboard. Don't use a D-pad. Torture yourself. Feel how it felt to be a kid back in the 90s. Well, late 90s, early 2000s. I'll have to correct myself. PS1 and I share a birthday for America. And I guess it's only right that I had to return to my roots and shake hands with an old friend, as it were. I love playing these old games, and I'm going to keep doing it. Because A, maybe it'll keep more of my gray beard hairs away, and B, it's good to see where they came from and where they are now. How do they sit in my memory? Because I have just the stupidest memory in history where I can forget someone's name in 2 minutes flat, but if you ask me where the hidden costume was in this one video game from 2003, I'll probably be like, oh yeah, did you check around blank? And someone will be like, how? How do you remember this? Poo-poo brain. That's how we remember this. I have more plans to upload more videos as often as I can coming up. I don't know what I'm going to put up next, but I do know Spyro is soon to come. So if you're looking forward to that, stick around, subscribe, and we will get to it when we get to it. I'll see you all next time.